Right now at 6, the Joplin City Council draws one step closer to allowing some urban deer hunting.
And we do have an alert day today, really for our overnight hours, but strong severe thunderstorms possible today, and then again overnight tonight, and again tomorrow afternoon. A look at all that coming up.
Plus, some Southeast Kansas business leaders meet face-to-face with lawmakers to voice their concerns and push for action.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday. It's June the 17th. And of course, we have our alert day
yes,
today.
We do.
Really, for our storms, we're expecting late tonight, early tomorrow morning. But we do have the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms scattered through the area today. The greatest threat after midnight tonight, and then another round by tomorrow afternoon. So a busy couple of days here. And let's start with that quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Sunrise looks great. Clouds are beginning to increase ahead of course, those strong to severe thunderstorms that are off to our west. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking good as well. Let's dive into the Skywatch Storm Tracker. So here's what we've got in terms of watches and warnings. Now again, no warnings in our immediate area, and the watch in Kansas, as you can see, just goes right around our immediate area. However, into Oklahoma, Washington, Nevada counties, that severe thunderstorm watch runs until 10 o'clock this morning, and that is why. Take a look at this line of storms out here. It is severe. At its peak, again, winds were upwards of 100 miles an hour or slightly over in Wichita. They're now back down to, or they've come back up rather. They've weakened and re-intensified a couple of times, 80 to 90 mile an hour wind gusts along this line of storms. So again, no severe thunderstorm warnings in our immediate area. Again, parts of Elk, Chautauqua County, you might get clipped by this activity. It has a greater chance of maybe pushing into Washington, Nevada County, hence why that watch does extend that far out. So what we're going to do here is just a very quick storm track on this thing, as it's expected to continue diving south and east. So in terms of arrival times, it's not really highlighting any communities in our immediate area, but still, it's going to be rolling into Washington County, I'd say sometime just before 7 o'clock this morning, if it holds, which at this point, it is definitely working to hold. Now, the other thing that we're watching is the development that is taking place back behind this line. This, if it holds together, could fill in and bring us an opportunity for some strong to severe thunderstorms through the morning and afternoon hours, but they'll be considerably more scattered. This is our severe risk for today, and again, this is primarily the expectations for overnight tonight. We have an isolated to scattered tornado risk out there. We have greater concerns for hail, with a greater risk barely clipping Greenwood County, but like what we're seeing this morning, damaging winds, if not potentially destructive winds, could be possible with this line as it rolls a new squall line overnight tonight into very early tomorrow morning, with these hatch marks indicating the possibility of maybe winds 80 miles an hour or greater with these storms. So this on the future track is the storm complex that's trying to develop behind this line that we want to watch. Scattered storms through the day today. Any that we see will have that potential to become strong to severe, and they could hang on into the evening. And again, it'll be after midnight that we see that severe threat tick up again. Then as we head into our Wednesday afternoon, mid-morning afternoon, another line of strong to severe thunderstorms will develop with all hazards possible again, but the greatest concern is going to be with large hail and damaging wind gusts. Currently sitting at 67 in Joplin as well as Pittsburgh, a little closer to where these storms are. That's where we've been warmer. Chanute earlier was 74, coming down in the low 70s now. The rest of us mid to upper 60s. So with the cloud cover and the storm chances, temperatures have come down a bit for most of us. We're still looking at mid-upper 80s for our highs, but some of our counties in Oklahoma could reach the low 90s. We're still looking at heat index values getting pretty high as well, getting close to 100. Non-thunderstorm winds gusting upwards of 25 out of the south. Of course, we're continuing to track these storms this morning. Any new watches or warnings pop up, we will certainly know, or let you know, and then we will have a complete look at your forecast, break down the timing on all of these rounds of severe thunderstorm chances here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, the Missouri Highway Patrol is investigating a fatal crash on I-44 that killed multiple people and left a community in mourning. The crash happened Sunday afternoon in Crawford County, Missouri. Authorities say a motorhome traveled through the median and struck another vehicle. The collision caused both vehicles to catch fire. All 4 people, 2 in each vehicle, died in the crash. In a statement following the crash, the Crawford County Sheriff's Office said, quote, "Our hearts go out to the families forever changed by this heartbreaking event. No inconvenience or delay can compare to the loss and grief they are now facing," end quote. Authorities say all 4 people were in their 60s. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, it seems some limited deer hunting will be permitted in Joplin city limits. The Joplin City Council last night gave final approval to a proposal to allow bow hunting for deer, but only in tightly limited locations, times, and circumstances. The proposal passed on second and third readings last night by a vote of 6-3. The ordinance is to help curb the growing number of deer vehicle collisions in Joplin. The future of Joplin public transportation took center stage during a public meeting in Carl Junction last night. JATSO, the Joplin Area Transportation Study Organization, announced the kickoff for updating the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, including the launch of an online community survey, and invited the public out to weigh in on the topic. The organization held the event as part of a series of public houses, complete with interactive exercises with maps and graphics and information about the project. The next meeting will be held tonight in Webb City at the Mining Days Community Building, then tomorrow in Joplin at the City Hall 5th floor Council Chambers. Both meetings are scheduled to take place from 4:30 to 7 in the evening. In Southeast Kansas, community members and organizations alike see the impact legislative actions can have on the workforce, housing, and child care. Southeast Kansas Inc. invited more than half a dozen state and federal legislators who represent the area to an organized meet and greet. Legislators could hear directly from community members about their thoughts on issues that impact them. Lawmakers say it also gives them a chance to get an idea of what to take back for the next legislative session. Well, 2 of the 4 candidates for Fort Scott Community College president met the public yesterday in a community forum. The other 2 candidates participated in a forum last week. Now, they were given a platform to discuss their view of the future and what they would bring to the college. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, President Trump leaves the G7 summit in Canada early as tensions with Iran grow. And we're tracking thunderstorm chances for tonight. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Sky Watch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from McIndoe Park in Joplin. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning, President Trump right now is on his way back to the White House after leaving a day early from the G7 summit in Canada. The White House is citing the conflict between Israel and Iran as the reason for the early departure. The U.S. and Israel say they want to stop Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon, though the U.S. has indicated it has no interest in getting involved in the military offensive. The president yesterday continued his push for talks, saying he believes a deal is possible. Naomi Ruckham has more from New York.
President Donald Trump cut short his trip to the G7 in Canada, returning to Washington overnight as the latest Israel-Iran conflict stretches into a 5th day.
I have to be back early for obvious reasons.
In a social media post, the president said his early exit does not have to do with ceasefire negotiations, also adding that it's, quote, much bigger than that. For weeks, President Trump pushed Iran to re-enter talks on its nuclear program.
I think a deal will be signed, or something will happen, but a deal will be signed. And I think Iran is foolish not to sign one.
Monday, the president warned that everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran, without explaining why. U.S. officials tell CBS News that American forces are not joining Israel's offensive, though the Pentagon has deployed more assets to the region, including another carrier strike group. Israel released video of its strikes on military targets in Iran, though blasts Monday also hit this building during a live broadcast of Iran state TV. This morning, Israel said it has killed another top Iranian military official. Israeli officials have defended the strikes as necessary to curtail Iran's nuclear program.
The truth of the matter is there was no other choice.
Sirens and blasts rocked Tel Aviv and Jerusalem this morning. The U.S. State Department is warning Americans not to travel to Israel. The embassy in Jerusalem says it's not in a position to assist with evacuations. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio also left the G7 early with President Trump, though before leaving, the president did sign a statement with the other G7 leaders expressing support for Israel, affirming that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon and emphasizing the importance of de-escalation and protection of civilians. Well, still to come, a new study finds that levels of arsenic found in drinking water are linked to health risks for newborns. Plus, Chris returns with another look at your Tuesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, two women from southeastern Mississippi share quite a bond. Women share the same last name. They live in the same small town in Ellisville and both gave birth to triplets over the past 6 months. And the same doctor delivered all of the babies. Raven Little spoke with the families and has more.
Meet the Crawfords.
Birdie is the only girl. Biggest little chunky boy here is Bronc, like Bronco, but with no O. Okay. And then Barnett.
And meet the Crawfords.
He's holding Jack, and this is Rivers in blue, and this is Cherish.
The last name isn't the only thing these families have in common. Both sets of triplets were delivered by the same doctor, just months apart.
The two families didn't know each other. And what was even more special to me was spontaneous triplets occur 1 in 8,000 pregnancies. So it's really rare. And then for them to come from the same small town of Ellisville, which is roughly 4,500 people.
The similarities go on. Both couples already had one child and decided to try for another. But they got more than they bargained for this time around.
It was pretty apparent what was going on. It wasn't the typical like, oh my goodness, look.
Yeah, it was no like, oh, sweet little baby. It was, oh my word, what are we looking at? For the longest time, I kept trying to tell the ultrasound tech that she had the wrong patient pulled up.
When we found out we were pregnant with not 1 but 3, we were really, really shocked, especially because I didn't do any type of fertility or anything like that. It was just completely spontaneous. So
after an early delivery, both families spent time in the NICU, something Dr. Washburn says is common with multifetal pregnancies. Despite the hurdles, he got to hold all 6 of the babies he had been keeping an eye on for 9 months.
Nothing makes me happier when I get to see healthy moms and healthy babies. And these ladies and these babies were so fortunate to have successful outcomes without complications.
The Crawford moms got in touch with one another on Facebook after hearing through the grapevine that they were both on the same journey. Now they have years of play dates, graduations, and triple birthdays ahead.
I reached out to her when I found out, she was about to have the babies and that she was in the hospital through Facebook, and me and her kind of have talked back and forth, and kind of been a support to each other through, the roughness sometimes of triplets.
We just had so much good insight, and she was so calm about everything, and it made me relax and understand that we will make it. We will survive this.
Jack, Cherish, and Rivers were born at 31.5 weeks. They are now 6 months old. And Bronc, Barnett, and Birdie were born at 32.5 weeks. They are 2 months old. Let's head over now to Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
Yeah, we have got a fairly decent start to the day for most of us out there, but we are continuing to track strong to severe thunderstorms just to our west. An alert day today for more storms tonight and again tomorrow, the latest when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on this Tuesday morning. It's coming up now on 6:22. We do have an alert day today, and it is for our thunderstorm chances overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. However, you can see we are dealing with some strong to severe thunderstorms just outside of our immediate area, but we do have a severe thunderstorm watch Washington, Nevada counties, northeastern Oklahoma until 10 a.m. The watch you see that does not include any of our Kansas counties, but is right up against them, is set to expire at 7 o'clock this morning. Additionally, the severe thunderstorm warning into Cowley County, the last one you see there in Kansas, is set to expire before too much longer, as well as the storms have weakened a bit. Worst of this activity still looks to be missing our immediate area. As you can see, these new severe thunderstorm warnings again continuing as this line pushes through Oklahoma into northeastern Oklahoma into Osage County. We are not anticipating anything significant out of this batch for our immediate area. But the storms that are developing back behind it here, those are ones that we want to keep an eye on as they're trying to intensify. We have additional storms developing along the line behind that. Those, if they can get going and hold on, could eventually make it into our area as we go into the late morning and early afternoon hours. So here's a loop on that Skywatch Storm Tracker. That line, very intense line, bigger line, now kind of shrinking. It's weakened a bit, diving still off to the south and southeast. So Tulsa eventually is going to be up next. For any reason you're commuting out today, you're heading down to the southwest this morning, you need to make sure you are paying very close attention to the weather, as this line is going to be approaching I-44 before too much longer as well. And again, earlier at its peak, 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts in Wichita, still anywhere from 70 to 80 miles an hour right now. Here's our severe threats. And again, this is day one, but it's really going to be for after midnight tonight. We have the isolated to scattered tornado risk across the region. We also have a scattered hail risk with a higher end risk just barely clipping Greenwood County. The greatest concern, similar to the situation we have this morning to our west, is going to be for wind gusts, damaging wind gusts and potentially destructive wind gusts. In the red, where we've got the numerous, we're talking winds could gust to 70, 80 miles an hour. And in these hatch marks in our far western counties, we're talking winds there could exceed 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts as we head into early tomorrow morning. So what are we looking at? First, through the afternoon, this is the line of storms that's trying to develop behind the one that's out there this morning. Still some inconsistencies on whether or not it's going to make it into our area. That also is going to play a significant role in our temperatures today. If that holds together, which is possible, it could be strong, potentially severe, giving us some scattered storms, especially in the southeastern Kansas. But that, between that and the cloud cover, could limit temperatures as we head into the northern half of our area, keeping them into the mid to upper 80s. However, the low 90s still appear quite likely, especially in the northeastern Oklahoma, and it's still going to be quite muggy. Those storms, again, could be strong to severe, could last through the evening. They'll move out, and then as we head into early tomorrow morning, couple of rounds. We get one round of strong, potentially severe storms around midnight starting to push in. So Nevada, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, Parsons, Coffeyville, back toward Howard and Sedan. Then this is what we're watching. This is the big show for tomorrow morning. This is about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. This squall line comes in, and as it rolls in initially, it could be packing some intense winds. That's why we want to watch it very closely. The other thing about its speed as a possibility, take a look. This is 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, lining up right about at Chanute. By 5, it is knocking on Cassville's door. It is going to push through very quickly, and that's going to intensify that potential for those damaging wind gusts with those storms. Now, once that batch clears out, we'll have redevelopment by mid-morning along a boundary that's going to allow additional strong to severe thunderstorms as we go through the late morning into the afternoon, and eventually by the evening, those will clear out. But it does come with that severe threat for tomorrow, which does include an isolated tornado risk by the afternoon, but we're also looking at that possibility and a greater concern for large hail and damaging wind gusts. There's that sunrise this morning. Looks great, but the clouds increasing out there from those storms to our west. Low 70s to start, low 80s by 11 o'clock this morning. And again, we're looking at highs today, mid-upper 80s for most of us, some low 90s down south. Low 70s tonight, very mild, very muggy. Those thunderstorms, especially in the morning, strong to severe. Another round by the afternoon. Then we'll clear out into the weekend. Temperatures climbing into the low to mid 90s. Let's check your forecast. Now we'll send it over to Elise with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, levels of arsenic in public drinking water could cause health risks for newborns. A new study from Columbia University's Mailman School of Public Health found even when the levels of arsenic in water are within federal safety standards, babies born to mothers exposed to the water are more likely to be born preterm or have lower birth weights. Now, the study suggests more needs to be done to reduce arsenic levels in drinking water. Rates of sleep apnea could double in many countries due to climate change. A study by Flinders University found higher temperatures are linked to a 45% increase in a person experiencing obstructive sleep apnea. Sleep apnea affects nearly 1 billion people worldwide and is linked to other health issues, including dementia, Parkinson's disease, and cardiovascular disease. And there is growing evidence that the mental health of new fathers can impact their children. A review published in JAMA Pediatrics finds paternal depression, anxiety, and stress in the period during and after pregnancy are associated with worse child development outcomes in social, emotional, cognitive, and language areas. Researchers say new fathers should be screened early for mental health issues. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, a big step forward. One of Pittsburgh's oldest manufacturers celebrates its largest expansion in 30 years.
And we have an alert day today. Strong to severe thunderstorms likely after midnight tonight. Plus, we could have some between here and there and another round tomorrow afternoon. The latest coming up.
Plus, higher prices and extreme weather. Why this season at the farmers market looks different than years past.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:31. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday. It is June the 17th. And of course, today an alert day.
Yes.
More so for storm chances after midnight tonight. And then another round of strong severe thunderstorms possible tomorrow afternoon. And we could have some scattered storms through the day today that could potentially be strong to severe as well. And we've got activity out there this morning that at this point still looks to just miss us to the west, but definitely pretty close. Let's start quickly with a look at outside now at downtown Pittsburgh, 4th and Broadway. Looking back now to the south and east, we've got the clouds building in and increasing from the thunderstorms that are off to the west. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline, looking at the sunlight there, and again clear to the east, but it will not take long for clouds to increase. So here's a look. The only thing we have in our area is the severe thunderstorm watch for Washington and the Wada counties until 10 a.m. Out west of Arkansas counties, that severe thunderstorm watch is set to expire at 7 a.m. And the only warnings are heading back into Osage and Pawnee counties through this morning. And something I've just learned, there's a Webb City in Oklahoma. I did not know there was another one. Now we do. But these storms, again, have been recycling over and over during their trip through Wichita. Winds gusting 100 miles an hour, a little more than that. They've reached other peaks around 80 to 90. They are calming down a bit. Here's a look at what they look like on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Still a lot of lightning with those thunderstorms out there. Now, again, the bulk of this is going to miss us. But nonetheless, at their peak as well, these storms, more than 1,000 lightning strikes. And that's come down now to 414. So definitely some good news there. That's also that indication the storms are beginning to weaken as they push off to the south and southeast. Now, what we are watching is you see all this stuff to the west of Wichita? See how that's filling in pretty quickly? See that whole thing right through here that's trying to fill in. That could give us some strong, potentially severe storms as we head through the morning and into the afternoon today. Tonight, though, again, this severe threat you're seeing here is mainly for what we're expecting after midnight tonight. We have an isolated to scattered tornado threat. We do have a scattered hail risk with that higher risk just barely clipping Greenwood County. More importantly, just like the line that we're seeing this morning off to our west, we're looking at another line of storms that could bring damaging to potentially destructive wind gusts with it. So it's something we want to watch closely. At red zone, we're talking 70, maybe 80 mile an hour winds, and in the hatched areas in our western counties, it could be winds gusting in excess of 80 miles an hour. So here's what we're looking at. By noon, this is going to be that complex that's trying to get going to the west, and we'll have those scattered storms. Now, those storms will also play a role in our temperatures for the northern half of our area, keeping us into the mid to upper 80s. Still hot, still muggy, still uncomfortable, but it brings those temperatures down. Into northeastern Oklahoma, though, especially, still expecting low 90s out there, and heat index values once again could get close to 100. Scattered storms again through today. Some of those could be strong to severe. Then we'll have the round overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning, so that's that. And then tomorrow, say mid-morning, 10, 11 a.m., we're going to see another round of strong to severe thunderstorms. All hazards possible again with that, but the greatest concern by tomorrow is going to be, again, with wind and hail. We're sitting at 67 in Joplin right now, 68 in Pittsburgh. Fairly mild start to the day. Temperatures at 8th Center now up to 73. Chanute, you reached 74 earlier, so we got low 70s out to the west. The rest of us into the mid to upper 60s. We're looking to be about the mid-70s by 9 o'clock this morning, low 80s by noon, mid-upper 80s for our highs for most of us. Those scattered storms, south winds occasionally gusting to 25 out there as well. We're going to break down our thunderstorm chances through today into tonight and tomorrow here for you in detail here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, a major milestone for one of Pittsburgh's long-standing manufacturers. Pitt Plastic celebrates its largest expansion in 3 decades. A ribbon-cutting ceremony yesterday marked the expansion that adds more than 200,000 square feet to the company's total footprint in Pittsburgh. They say the expansion will allow them to grow their customer base and support future revenue, both for the company and the community. The event gave local officials and the chamber a chance to tour the space, which was completed earlier this year and is now fully operational. Well, the Pittsburgh Fire Department is conducting hydrant flushing in the area from Rouse Street to the east city limits and from East 20th to the north city limits. Officials say the flushing may temporarily cause discolored water. While it's not hazardous, residents are advised not to wash white clothing during this time. Now, if you do notice discolored water, run cold water taps throughout your home for 5 to 10 minutes until the water runs clear. Well, between weather and inflation, foot traffic looks a bit different at local farmers markets. K&D Cattle is a farmers market in Newton County. The owner, Dan Thornburg, grows his own produce, buys from other local producers, and buys out of state for food that is out of season locally. Now, he says due to higher costs of farming essentials and out of season costs, he has to raise prices. This is typically their peak season, but Thornburg says business is down. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV and Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps, as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Well, some incoming 7th and 8th grade students in Joplin are getting an inside look at healthcare careers at the Freeman Healthcare Careers Camp. It includes ambulance and air ambulance tours, introduction to CPR, OR tours, and more. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Senate Republicans reveal big changes to the GOP budget and border bill. We'll see what this could mean for your taxes. Plus, Dunkin' is teaming up with Tarte Cosmetics to launch a new line of lip formulas. We'll have the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look of Mackendale Park in Joplin. In Consumer Watch this morning, the hyper-competitive travel industry is breeding a new trend of hyper-personalization, which means customizing a stay even before the guest walks in the door. Hotels are using a mix of data, artificial intelligence, and social media sleuthing to better cater to a traveler's needs. Wendy Gillette explains in today's Travel Tuesday.
This just in. Renowned journalist Wendy Gillette has arrived at the Peninsula London.
This mock CBS News special report was playing on a loop as I entered the hotel room at the new Peninsula London.
Stay tuned as we bring you live updates.
It was delivered with a personalized treat, courtesy of the in-house suites team, a common welcome.
Every repeat guest was once a first-time guest, and I think it's about getting it right in the first time.
The property, which pays tribute to aviation and automotive history, Luxury provides a range of high-end vehicles for transport. Guests can also indulge in unique spa treatments like a 24-karat gold mask and check in or out any time of the day.
Time is not something that money can buy, but it's sort of this effortless travel that we are after.
Future Market Insights predicts personalization in the travel industry will grow almost 18% from 2022 to 2032, eventually hitting $620 million. Hotel Schweizerhof in Bern, Switzerland delivers customization, setting up special experiences, like seeing the sights from a hot air balloon, while Royal Savoy Hotel and Spa in nearby Lausanne, overlooking Lake Geneva, arranges private winemaker tastings.
Experiences are creating memories, and I think you want to have memories and you want to share memories.
A personalized stay at Bergenstock in Lucerne, Switzerland, one of those we visited for a special rate, begins with VIP access on this catamaran. Then a ride on a cable railway to reach the resort. Movie buffs will note the chapel where Audrey Hepburn got married, not far from a 2-floor spa offering a gold hot stone massage and these vistas.
But perhaps the most jaw-dropping experience of Bergenstock ends up here on a glacier in the Swiss Alps, eating a traditional dish.
In a field next to grazing cows, a helicopter whisks guests to the glacier where a chef prepares raclette.
People come, want an experience, they want to really connect with the environment.
Bergenstock's more than 80 experiences help customize that connection. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Well, Senate Republicans have unveiled their changes to the massive House-passed GOP budget and border bill, dubbed the One Big Beautiful Bill. Now, among them, the Senate proposes extending the state and local tax deduction or SALT at $10,000, a big drop from the House's proposed $40,000 cap. Republican senators are also calling for steeper cuts in Medicaid providers' taxes, which are used by the states to help fund their share of the program. Now, a changed bill would have to go back to the House for final approval if it passes the Senate. And Dunkin' continues to cross over into the beauty realm. The donut chain is teaming up with Tarte Cosmetics on a line of juicy lip formulas inspired by Dunkin's Refreshers drinks. The collection is already available at Tarte online, and the collab also hits Ulta Beauty next week. That's a look at Consumer Watch this morning. Here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've had some strong to severe thunderstorms just outside of our immediate area, but that doesn't mean we're done with that threat yet with our alert day in place today into the overnight. A full look at your forecast and birthdays and anniversaries right after this. All right, time now for some Tuesday birthdays in the 4 states, and we're going to start with Indy. Kate O'Brien celebrating big number 1 today. Happy birthday.
And in Oswego, a happy 5th birthday to CJ McKenzie.
And we've got Claire Watson celebrating birthday number 5. It says, to our beautiful little girl, we wish you happy birthday and we love you from Mom and Dad. Happy birthday.
Back over in Oswego, a happy 13th birthday to Xanthfire Baldwin. It says, happy birthday, we love you.
And we've got Joyce Huff celebrating birthday number 81. It says, happy 81st birthday with love from Chris, Sophie, and Loki.
And in Neodesha, a happy 100th birthday to Florence Kammerer. That is an incredible milestone, Florence, and a big happy birthday to you.
Indeed, a big milestone there. And we have the 3rd wedding anniversary of Jem and Mary Bob Godinez. Very happy anniversary to you.
And in Carl Junction, a happy 59th anniversary to John and Debbie Turchak.
And last but certainly not least, Lisa Edwards celebrating another year wiser in Walnut, Kansas. All right. Another great list of birthdays and anniversaries for our Tuesday. And if you would like to celebrate with us, Elise has information for you.
Yes, please submit your birthdays and your anniversaries to birthdays@komnews.com. Be sure to include those wonderful photos and messages to meet the deadline at the bottom of your screen. And to also please include the date of your celebration when submitting as well.
Absolutely important information there, and some important information for you this morning. Right now, we are doing pretty good in our immediate area. All right, the severe thunderstorm watch in Kansas set to expire at 7 o'clock, so about 12 minutes from now. And then there's the severe thunderstorm watch Washington and the Nevada counties in our area. That will run through 10 a.m. And we have that severe thunderstorm warning out there for northwestern northwestern Osage and northwestern Pawnee counties, it runs until 7:15. That's for 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. And those storms moving southeast at 30. So you can see we've had that potent line of storms out there. Again, when it pushed through Wichita this morning, 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts, which is just incredible with that line of storms. As it continues to push off to the south and east out there, if it holds its track, this is why that watch does reach where it does. It could clip parts of our area, so we're going to dive it a little further southeast there. So that's going to roll it into Bartlesville about 7:37 this morning, down to Tulsa. So if you're commuting down there, you're heading down there for the afternoon or whatever the case may be, or even this morning, getting there a little after 8. So make sure that you are paying close attention if you are commuting on I-44 this morning. Then what we are going to watch is the activity that's attempting to fill in and develop back behind it. Now, National Weather Service in Wichita says that the atmosphere through here is still conducive for strong to severe thunderstorm development. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not those storms get their act together and become strong to severe, or if they just stay below severe limits, which would not be a bad thing at this point, because it's this activity that could eventually have an impact on our area as we continue through the morning and into this afternoon, ahead of a greater severe threat overnight tonight. That's why our alert day is in place, is for what we're expecting tonight. So this is, and you'll see it out there, this is day 1, which is today, but these threats are really for our storms overnight tonight after midnight. So we have an isolated to scattered tornado risk out there. Additionally, we have a scattered hail risk with a higher risk just kind of clipping Greenwood County. But just like the storms this morning that rolled through Wichita, the wind is going to be the greatest concern, and we're looking at damaging, potentially destructive wind gusts with these storms early tomorrow morning. Now, this outlook is set to update at about 8 o'clock this morning. Sometimes it updates earlier, so we'll keep a very close eye on that. It'd be nice if it changed in our favor and brought these severe threats down, but we'll still keep a close eye on that. And in these hatch areas here in our far western counties, talking winds could exceed 80 miles an hour at times with some of these storms, so a lot to keep an eye on. What does it look like between here and there? So this is the future track trying to pick up on the activity that's developing now west of 135, and it will continue to push to the east. It could be strong, potentially severe, as it rolls into the area, and that'll leave us with some scattered storms out there through the afternoon into the evening. And any of these storms could be strong, potentially severe, but they're going to be very scattered in nature. Again, the big concern comes tomorrow. Starting around midnight, we get a round of thunderstorms in. Some of these, again, strong, potentially severe by midnight. So Nevada, Pittsburgh, Fort Scott, Chanute, Parsons, Coffeyville, Fredonia, Yates Center, Bartlesville. Then, by about 2 o'clock in the morning, this squall line starts pushing through. This is what we want to watch. It is looking to be a very intense line of thunderstorms. It's going to be one of those situations where a spin-up tornado, or a QLCS tornado is the technical term, would be possible. But again, the greatest concern with this thing is going to be the damaging wind gusts. And I want you also to very quickly take note of this. See, by 3 a.m., it's lined up almost Chanute to Coffeyville. In 2 hours' time, it is rolling into Springfield and Cassville. It is going to be moving quickly, which enhances that damaging wind threat, which is why we want to keep a very close eye on that. Then by Wednesday afternoon, actually by mid-morning, another round of strong severe thunderstorms. All hazards possible, an isolated tornado risk, but the greatest concerns are going to be with hail and wind, and that comes around 10 o'clock tomorrow morning after that first line of storms gets through. So a lot to keep an eye on. We're going to have another look at your forecast here in just a moment, as well as news you need to know. And we switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m. or you hang out with us here on KOAM Plus. We're going to hear the story of one man's life-changing transplant surgery.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The Missouri Highway Patrol is investigating a fatal crash on I-44 that killed multiple people and left a community in mourning. The crash happened Sunday afternoon in Crawford County, Missouri. Authorities say a motorhome traveled through the median and struck another vehicle. The collision caused both vehicles to catch fire. No one survived. JATSO announced the kickoff for updating the Metropolitan Transportation Plan and inviting the public to weigh in on the topic. The next meeting will be held tonight in Webb City at the Mining Days Community Building, then tomorrow in Joplin at the City Hall's 5th floor council chambers. The meetings are scheduled to take place from 4:30 to 7 in the evening. And the Pittsburgh Fire Department will be conducting hydrant flushing from Rouse Street to the east city limits and from East 20th to the north city limits. Officials say the flushing may temporarily cause discolored water. If you do notice discolored water, run cold water taps throughout your home for 5 to 10 minutes until the water runs clear. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And we've got the alert day again for storms overnight tonight. Scattered storms through the day. Some of those could be strong to severe. Highs mid-upper 80s for most of us and south winds gusting upwards of 25. Scattered storms through the evening. A strong or low-grade severe storm possible after midnight. A squall line of storms with damaging wind gusts as the primary concern will roll through. Fairly mild evening back in the low 70s. Once those storms pass through in the morning, another round by about 10 o'clock of strong to severe thunderstorms with wind and hail being the primary concerns again will push through. After that, we heat up into the weekend, low to mid 90s, so good opportunity to get out to the pool, but not today or tomorrow.
All righty. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making Orange Dream Angel Cake in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, Jasmine Kyle from the SAK Humane Society joins us in the studio to talk about how volunteering at your local animal shelter benefits the animals.
And Charlene Patton back in the studio with another incredible recipe for you. However, it's going to wrap it up for us for now. If any new watches or warnings pop up this morning, of course, we will certainly pop in and let you know. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.